I have downloaded the Education Financial Plan for the PDF version of the template, and I want to show you how to use that to budget your education, to make your financial plan. So first of all, if at all possible, we recommend that you do this in Excel rather than PDF, because in Excel it will automatically calculate everything and add things up for you. But if you can't do that, then you can use a PDF. So here we are with the PDF. We have 2 pages. Page 1 shows years 1 and 2, and then page 2 shows years 3 and 4. And you've got, on the left, you've got all of your expenses for the year, and you've got all of your funding sources for the year. So, to show you how to change things, let's say that in the spring semester, this, by the way, this shows that you're going 3 semesters per year, which you may not be doing. And if that's the case, you'd want to come in here and say, well, I'm not going to the spring semester, so I'm going to delete the tuition. So you delete that. You'll also have to change this number to be 2,059 less than that, and change this to be 2,059 less, and change this to be 2,059 less. If you were using Excel, it would automatically happen, but since you're not, then you have to do that manually. So, to continue this train of thought, if you were not going to school, you would also want to delete the books. But you may leave housing and food and personal expenses and health insurance the same, because you still need those things if you're staying here in Rexburg. However, let's say maybe you're not staying in Rexburg. Maybe you're going to spend the spring semester and the summer term with your cousin, and somewhere else. In that case, you may still want to keep your health insurance, but you could delete maybe some of the housing and food. You may still have personal expenses that you'll need to keep there. But since you're traveling a little more, you might need to increase the amount of travel. So you can see how this is flexible. You can change it according to your needs. However, the international services here at BYU Idaho will be looking at this total to make sure during a 2-semester term that you're at least 12,500, because they feel like that's kind of the baseline. You need to have at least that much budgeted. So, and then over here, you'd put down how much money you're going to provide for yourself. Maybe you have that much in savings. Maybe your family's going to also contribute. Maybe you have a sponsor. And maybe you have something other. You could say perhaps you're getting a grant from your country. So let's say you're getting some money from that source. So far we have $15,000, which is not enough to cover what our expenses are. So that's the first point, is that once we've determined all of our sources of funding and added that up, we need to make sure that that's at least enough to cover our expenses. So, and then don't forget to total things up over here. And then if you total things down here as well, everything all adds up to what it should. And then you do that for year 2, year 3, year 4, and when you've done all that, you've got your education financial plan. I do want to just point out a few things. We've got some notes down here. We've already covered point 1. Point 2 is that the SEVIS fee appears every year, but normally you don't have to pay that again. Normally you pay that once, you go get your education, you don't pay it again. But if you do delay your education by 5 months or more, then you will have to pay that. For example, if you go on a mission for a year and a half or 2 years, when you get back, you will have to pay that again. Point 3 is that you need to account for your expenses in your off semester and during the summer session. Those are periods of time that you're going to still have expenses, and you need to account for those expenses, whether or not you're going to school and whether or not you're in Rexburg or somewhere else. Point number 4 here is that if you have dependents, which would be a spouse or children, you need to increase your costs, your expenses by $2,500 per year per dependent. So you could spread those expenses out over several categories, but you need to make sure you add at least that much per dependent. And then on the second page we've got a few notes. Simply a reiteration that your grand total expenses need to be less than your grand total funding, and that tuition for someone who is not a member of the church is going to be more than what we're showing here. So that covers the how to use the template to create your financial plan. Once you're done with the plan, of course, you'll submit it to BYU Idaho for the international services to review and to make sure they don't see any problems with it. But you also should sit down, if you have any sponsors, you should sit down with your sponsor and show them your plan. That's a good thing to do to make sure they understand what you're facing as far as expenses go and how you're depending upon them, and how if they don't come through for you, you're in big trouble and you may have to postpone your education. It's just important to let them know how year after year you're facing these expenses, and you need to depend upon them to do what they've committed to do. We really believe that if you will put your full attention into getting your financial plan correctly, that it will save you a lot of trouble down the road. It will help you to be more successful. So, and I do hope you success in your education. And I hope that this short video has helped you understand how to create your financial plan and how to use the template to do that.